Good morning, afternoon, or evening, y'all. My name is Shannon, and today we are going to go over all of the books I read in May, which, granted, it's not a lot. I only finished 6 books this month. I DNF'd 2. It has not been the best reading month for me, if you couldn't tell. But we're gonna go over the books I read and DNF'd, and then we're gonna talk a little bit more about why it's so few. So let's just get started. The first book I read this month was Carrie Said It Was Back by Miss Taylor Jenkins Reid. I actually predominantly listened to the audiobook for this. I switched between reading and listening to the audiobook, but mainly I listened to it. And first off, the audiobook was legitimately outstanding. It had so many different voice actors for all of these different characters, and the actual story is phenomenal. I think I rated this 4.75 stars. I will probably end up rereading this at some point and end up rating it 5 stars just because I legitimately loved it. Everything about it was so good. I honestly can't think of a critique off the top of my head, but this book is about Carrie, obviously. She holds the title for the most Grand Slams won in tennis, and someone's about to beat her record, and she decides to come out of retirement in order to fight for her title, and it was just absolutely outstanding. And this book is based in like the 70s through the 90s, I'm pretty sure, and the sexism in sports is just so apparent because they're consistently calling her like a if any man was doing the exact same thing, they would call him so many different things that are not at all negative. But it was just absolutely outstanding. I loved her character. I loved every character in this for the most part, and I just absolutely adored this. I may even change my rating to a 5 stars right now because thinking back on it, I legitimately loved this book. Next, I DNF'd The Boys of Brayshaw High by Megan Brandy. I think that's the same author as Say You Swear, but I could be wrong on that. Anywho, I saw a TikTok that had like a scene of this book in it, and I decided to give it a chance. I think I got like a third of the way through. Actually, I think I got like 50% of the way through the book. And I decided to DNF it. I was not vibing with it. There is a specific scene with one girl and multiple guys, and I wasn't a fan of it. I wasn't a fan of it at all. It made me really uncomfortable, actually. And if that's your thing, I'm so glad you enjoy it, but it just wasn't for me, and I decided to DNF it. Next, I read Night Shift by Annie Crown. I did not enjoy this. Almost at all. I really liked the premise of it. It is about this girl named Kendall who works in a library, and one night the most popular guy on campus comes in looking for a book. She helps her. They end up hooking up in the library, and things just go on from there. But it was very cliched, and the main conflict happened at like 50% of the way in through the book. And so the rest of the book after they make up is basically just smut. And I really didn't enjoy it at all because there was no plot. It felt like a very, very fast kind of thing. I just didn't enjoy it at all. I feel so mean. I feel so mean, but I really didn't enjoy this. I wish the conflict would have happened later on and there was more build up into their relationship. I think I would rate it like 2.5 stars. It was not for me. Next, I really got into Elle Kennedy in the last half of this month, and I read The Chase by Elle Kennedy. This is the first book in the Briar U series. This romance is between Summer and Fitz, and she has had a thing for him for a while, and he's just kind of been trying to avoid her. because she is one of his friends, D&D Laurentiis, from the off-campus series Little Sister. Anywho, something happens at the university she's currently at where she is asked to leave, and she ends up at Briar University rooming with Fitz and their other roommates, and it gets very complicated, especially because one of the other roommates has a thing for her, so it kind of becomes a love triangle at one point. And I don't know, I loved Fitz, I loved Summer, I loved this whole book as a whole, because personally, if it's done right, I enjoy love triangles. But I think I would rate this like 4.25 stars. It was a very, very fun hockey romance, and I enjoyed it a lot. Then I read The Risk by Elle Kennedy. This is the second book in the Briar University series. This book was about Jake, and I'm not gonna lie, off the top of my head, I can't think of the FMC's name, but the head coach's daughter for the Briar University team. And Jake just happens to be the star player, team captain of their rival team. And it's very apparent, even from the first book in the series, that they are attracted to each other, and it just gets so messy. And I didn't like this one as much as the previous book in the series, but it was a very cute romance, and I think I would rate it like 4 stars. Then I read The Play by Elle Kennedy. This is the third book in the Briar University series. It is about Hunter and Demi, and Hunter kind of screwed up last year, and he's decided to swear off women, and that leads him to becoming friends with Demi because she has a boyfriend, so she's automatically off limits. But something then happens where she no longer has a boyfriend, and all of a sudden she is making a play for him to be her rebound. And I thought this was really, really cute, especially given how he was kind of unlucky in the earlier books in the series. And I thought it was very, very cute to see them get together. The only thing is that it literally, I don't think, was until 40% of the way through the book that she broke up with her boyfriend. And I'm like, this is going, it has to be rushed. We only have 60% of the book left. And it was. But overall, I did really enjoy it, and I also really enjoyed the psychology project aspect of it for their class. I thought it was really interesting. As I was going on about Elle Kennedy, I also picked up The Mistake, which is the second book in the off-campus series because I have not finished that series. But this book, I really, really enjoyed this book. This probably was my favorite Elle Kennedy book this month. It was about John Logan and Grace, and he, at the beginning of this book, is kind of having a thing for his best friend's girlfriend, and he ends up hooking up with Grace, and they kind of start like hooking up semi-regularly, and something happens where she's like, get the out of here, I don't want you anywhere near me. And then they have a summer break. He comes back groveling for her and for her attention, to try to date her, get to know her better. I loved it. I ate up every single second of this book. I think the characters were so incredible, and I also just always love interconnected standalones because you get to see the previous characters and friendships that you have grown so attached to. I think I just absolutely adore the found family trope, and whenever you are reading an interconnected standalone series, you really usually get a really strong aspect of found family. But I absolutely adored this. And then the last book I DNF'd this month was The Dare by Elle Kennedy. This was the last book in the Briar University series. I was very hesitant going into this. I didn't know if I would even attempt to read it, given the reviews that I had read online. And I was right. I shouldn't have picked it up. I did not enjoy it. I got 10% of the way through, and I was like, I'm not gonna read this. So I remember what the premise was because I don't own the book. the premise was that this girl, I also don't remember their names, sorry. The premise was that this sorority girl was dared to take one of the hockey player friends, whose name I also can't remember. I think his name might be Connor. But she was dared to hook up with him. And she ends up going up to him and being like, can you please come to my room with me? We don't actually hook up. I just need them to think that we're hooking up. And he goes in with her and they just like end up talking. They spend the night together. Not in like a sexual way. They just end up spending time together. And that's where the story goes on from there. This girl was consistently made fun of by her sorority sisters in the 10% of the book I got through. And there was also an aspect of her mindset that really, really grated my nerves, because it was apparent that she either had an eating disorder or was currently having an eating disorder. And the way that she was thinking about food and eating and all that kind of stuff, I knew the second I started reading it that I shouldn't continue to read it, because that would definitely screw with my head. I knew that I didn't want it to mess up my mental health by reading that book and putting myself into that mindset, and so I decided to not finish it. Now that we've talked about the books I have read and not read, let's talk about book slumps just for a quick sec before I finish out this video. I honestly have no idea what causes them. I didn't have a book hangover this month. I just got busy and then I just didn't pick up a book. It is the same day that I'm filming this as I'm uploading it, and I have not picked up a book in like 2 weeks. I have no reason for that. I honestly have no idea what's going on, and I'm kind of screwed when it comes to reading vlogs, because like I said, I haven't been reading, so obviously I haven't been filming myself reading. So if you guys have any videos you want to see from me, please let me know, because I'm all ears at this point. But I'm really hopeful that I'll be able to get out of it this month. I am very excited for some of the books on my TBR this month from my previous video, but with that stuff being said, I sincerely hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you stuck around till this point, thank you so much. I hope you all are having an absolutely wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are in the world, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.